Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
We begin tonight in Chemung County, where a case of the UK variant of the coronavirus is now confirmed. As Big Fox's Matt Kleindienst reports, the CDC says this variant spreads more quickly and easily than other variants.
Good evening. The news of the UK variant's appearance in Chemung County came in just last night, and health officials are asking residents to remain vigilant. On Wednesday, the New York State Department of Health notified Chemung County officials of an individual with the UK variant of COVID-19. The news comes as cases continue to decrease throughout the county, with confirmed cases at its lowest point since September. Health experts say the variant may be more contagious than the original strain of the virus. However, it's unclear if it poses a greater threat. They also believe all 3 COVID vaccines could be effective against the UK variant. Officials have not said where in the county the case was found. However, they're asking residents to remain vigilant and follow COVID safety guidelines. The first case of the UK variant in New York was identified in Saratoga County in January, and cases have been identified in several southern tier counties, including Broome and Tompkins County. Matt Kleindienst, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
The governors of Texas and Mississippi are not budging on their plans to end pandemic restrictions despite criticism from top health officials and President Biden. Martin Savage reports.
In less than a week, the state of Texas will stop requiring masks, and businesses can operate without any restrictions, going against the advice of health experts.
Now is not the time to release all restrictions. Every individual is empowered to do the right thing here, regardless of what the states decide.
The rule changes frustrating some local leaders.
It's going to lead to a lot of chaos, confusion, and conflict.
And healthcare workers in Texas fearful of another dangerous surge.
To say that I'm petrified doesn't even really explain the gravity and the depth of my feelings.
From the Oval Office, President Joe Biden calling it a big mistake for states to lift restrictions.
The last thing we need is the Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott's office responding to Biden's criticism, writing in a statement, "It's clear from the recoveries, the vaccinations, the reduced hospitalizations, and safe practices that Texans are using that state mandates are no longer needed. We must now do more to restore livelihoods and normalcy for Texans." And Mississippi's governor also pushing back, just hours before the state's mask mandate and business capacity limits expired last night.
Given how long ago Mr. Biden was elected to the U.S. Congress, he certainly should know how Neanderthals think. Mississippians can make their own decisions. They can assess their risk.
But according to Dr. Anthony Fauci,
from a public health standpoint, is ill-advised. You're only going to set yourself back if you just completely push aside the public health guidelines.
And health experts say it's key to wait for more people to get vaccinated and have a lower number of new coronavirus cases before removing pandemic restrictions. A reality seemingly in reach as the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine continues to arrive across the country.
I would just plead with people, just give it another month or two. Let us get as many people vaccinated. Let's control this new variant before we start to relax on mask wearing and these other measures.
Today, Governor Cuomo announced that 12 community pop-up vaccine sites will go online tomorrow. One of the sites is in Corning at the Friendship Baptist Church on 120 Pearl Street. The state says the sites will vaccinate up to 4,000 people in the coming week. Sites will work with community leaders and organizations to identify eligible people and schedule appointments. Friendship Baptist will be open from 1 until 4 tomorrow afternoon. A telehealth company is teaming up with the New York State Health Department to vaccinate New Yorkers who can't leave their home due to COVID-19. Antoine Lewis has more.
At 82 and with Alzheimer's disease, Idalia Vasquez met qualifications for the COVID-19 vaccine some time ago. But daughter Clara says trying to get her vaccinated was not easy.
My mom has problems walking. I have a wheelchair for her and the flight of steps. So it takes me 2 hours to get her down the flight of steps to take her to anywhere.
But Idalia got her first shot on Monday without leaving her bedroom, thanks to a new program now underway between the City of Yonkers, the State Department of Health, and Roe, a healthcare tech company based in Manhattan.
So we are looking at 65 plus homebound seniors. We know that 77% of COVID-19 deaths in New York State are among people over the age of 65. So we are really targeting them.
Patients or their caregivers can apply at covidvaccinedrive.com, and if eligible, home visits can be scheduled with a certified health professional to administer the first and second doses of the Moderna vaccine. Outreach efforts are underway to reach residents in low-income zip codes, which Dr. Barnes says was a priority for both Rowe and Yonkers.
To look at communities that had underrepresented minorities, look at communities where people may not have been born in this country, may speak a different language, where social economic status was low, and where honestly, education around the vaccine might be low.
For Clara, the program has been even more impactful. She suffers from mobility issues that require the use of crutches and is also responsible for all aspects of her mother's care. Mostly homebound herself, she's on the program's wait list, hoping to get that potentially life-saving knock on her door sometime soon.
I have to be positive because I have to be positive for my mom. And if I'm depressed and unhappy, and how do I take care of my mom? So my mom is everything for me.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo apologized for his past behavior following allegations of sexual harassment. However, Cuomo was also rejecting calls for him to resign. Athena Jones reports.
I'm not going to resign.
Embattled New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, vowing to remain in office amid allegations of sexual harassment from 2 former aides and an unwanted advance from a 3rd woman.
I now understand that I acted in a way that made people feel uncomfortable. It was unintentional, and I truly and deeply apologize for it.
Cuomo speaking publicly for the first time since the accusers came forward. He urged New Yorkers to wait for the state attorney general's investigation to be completed before making a final judgment.
I never touched anyone inappropriately.
Deborah Katz, an attorney for Charlotte Bennett, who alleges Cuomo asked her inappropriate questions about her sex life when she worked as an aide, said in a statement, "The governor's press conference was full of falsehoods and inaccurate information, and New Yorkers deserve better." Lindsay Boylan, another former aide who accused him of kissing her on the lips after a one-on-one meeting in 2018, said this in a tweet: "How can New Yorkers trust you to lead our state if you don't know when you've been inappropriate with your own staff?" Cuomo also responded to a 3rd allegation made by Anna Ruck, who told the New York Times that Cuomo made an unwanted advance toward her at a wedding reception in 2019, an incident apparently captured in this photo.
It is my usual and customary way of greeting. I didn't mean it that way, but if that's how they felt, that's all that matters, and I apologize.
Cuomo speaking as the state legislature is moving to strip him of his emergency powers granted at the start of the coronavirus pandemic. While some state legislators are still calling for the governor to resign, the state Senate Majority Leader says the investigation should conclude before a decision is made.
He's saying that nothing inappropriate happened. If the investigation shows that something inappropriate did happen, I think he would have to resign.
There's stepped up security around the U.S. Capitol today after law enforcement officials picked up some concerning chatter about a potential plot tied to March 4th. Now, that is the day presidents used to be inaugurated in years past. It led the House to wrap its work week early, although the Senate will be in session. Ray Bogan has the latest.
There's a visible security increase on Capitol Hill, with more National Guardsmen, continued roadblocks, and checkpoints. Approximately 5,000 members of the National Guard are protecting our nation's capital.
People are deeply concerned.
The U.S. Capitol Police said Wednesday, "We have obtained intelligence that shows a possible plot to breach the Capitol by an identified militia group on Thursday, March 4th. Fox has learned there is concern about a small contingent of insurrectionists coming to the Capitol perimeter. Sources say there is specific information about the right-wing, anti-government militia group, the 3 Percenters.
The current security posture for the Capitol is enhanced. Of course, that security posture is layered. We have an outer perimeter as well as an inner perimeter.
The House of Representatives passed a voting and campaign reform bill in addition to the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act Wednesday night so they could finish their business for the week. Sources say that's partially due to security concerns.
It's not just threats here, but it's us coming here. It's we all live out in the community. And so you have heard already from the Capitol Police that threats are up 90% to members of the House.
The Senate, on the other hand, will spend the next couple of days working to pass the coronavirus relief package. They could quite possibly work straight through the night. In Washington, Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, for many, the pandemic has provided more time at home, but that comes with a downside. More people are getting hurt by products found around the house.
The home has now been turned into a gym, an office, a playground, and a school.
Tips on keeping you and your family safe, coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. It has been quite brisk out there today. Along with the snow chances, winds have been coming in from the northwest at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Right now, Elmira reporting about 15 miles per hour. In Corning, only around 9. Hornell along about 11 miles per hour, and is causing those temperatures to stay in the upper 20s and lower 30s. So right now it's about 19 degrees cooler than this time yesterday. Corning about 17, 15 in Watkins Glen, and in Bath about 15 degrees cooler as well. The good news is we are going to see some sunshine return by early tomorrow morning, but we are going to start off with temperature readings in the teens. Factor in those winds that will be coming from the northwest at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. It will feel like below zero. In fact, our wind chills will be about 5 degrees below zero at around 5 o'clock and 6 degrees below zero at 6 o'clock. But again, we are going to see some sunshine, and those winds will start to subside by the end of the day. But it is going to be a very windy day, causing those temperatures to feel about 10 degrees cooler for your Friday. We do have the possibility of snow as another cold front will be coming in, and that will result in colder conditions for the weekend. So let's take a look at our snow chances for tonight into early tomorrow. It looks like dry conditions most of the day on Friday, but those clouds will start to thicken up by the afternoon, and we do have the possibility of a few flurries and snow showers late Friday into your Saturday. So around 6 o'clock, it looks like maybe just a few flurries here and there across much of the Twin Tiers, and then by noon on Saturday, maybe a flurry or two, but overall it is going to be a little bit drier. By 9 o'clock, a few flurries once again, but it's not going to amount to much. By the end of the day on Saturday, we are expecting much colder air to reside in much of the Twin Tiers as the jet stream drops down to the south. And so that's going to drain all that cold air southward. So this weekend, it is going to be quite cold. Temperatures tonight in the teens, highs tomorrow. 33 degrees in Corning and 34 degrees in Elmira, so barely above freezing. We are going to see snow chances Friday night into your Saturday. Highs will only be around 31 degrees, 32 right at freezing on Sunday with mostly cloudy conditions. And then moving into next week, take a look at these temperatures, more than 10 degrees warmer on Monday with a high around 44 degrees. 50s could be possible on Tuesday, and it looks like we could hit the 60s by the middle of next week, out ahead of another storm system that will bring rain for Thursday.
With Americans spending more time at home during the pandemic, a new report released today shows more people are getting hurt by some products found around the house. Everything from fireworks to skateboards. Mandy Gaither has tips to keep you and your family safe in today's Health Minute.
For many, the pandemic has provided more time at home, but that comes with a downside.
The home has now been turned into a gym, an office, a playground, and a school.
A new report by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission showed that while overall ER visits went down from March through September 2020, reported injuries from certain items and activities around the home went up. Numbers of those hurt from fireworks and flares were up 56% for skateboards, scooters, and hoverboards, and severe injuries for ATVs, mopeds, and mini bikes. ER-treated injuries went up 39%. Bicycle injuries increased for people 40 and older. Emergency hospital visits related to button-sized batteries rose 93% among children ages 5 to 9, and ER treatment rose sharply for injuries related to cleaning supplies.
It's that combination of factors, distraction, all these multitasking that's being done, and everyone in the house that sets up a greater exposure for risk in the house.
The CPSC says to keep cleaning products in their original bottles and lock them up and away from small children. Gear up with a helmet before riding a scooter, skateboard, or bike. And make sure this label is on a bike helmet, which means it's certified by the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Also, never allow young children to play with or ignite fireworks.
Even sparklers, which many people think is okay, is not a good idea to give to children. They burn at a temperature of 2,000 degrees like a blowtorch, and you wouldn't give your child a blowtorch to play with.
Finally, keep products with small batteries that can be swallowed away from children. They're dangerous and potentially deadly if ingested. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
An Alabama girl will likely have to undergo several surgeries to correct a rare brain condition that doctors recently diagnosed. One thing she won't have to worry about, though, is paying for it. She's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars selling lemonade in her family's bakery. Xavier Harris has the story.
We all know the old saying, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's exactly what Liza Scott is doing.
She has three cerebral malformations. One is what they call a schizencephaly, so it's a cleft in the right frontal lobe of her brain.
Her mother, Elizabeth Scott, says they had no clue their daughter had this condition until she started having seizures last month.
It lasted about 45 minutes. An ambulance took her to Children's. We were evaluated, we went home, and then we were back there that afternoon.
Scott says their entire world changed in a blink of an eye. Now Liza has to undergo 2 brain surgeries and possibly more in years to come, which could become a financial burden when it comes to medical bills.
I've spent many a night in the middle of the night just on my hands and knees crying and praying and, you know, how am I going to do this? How are we going to do this? I'm a single mom.
To help pay for some of those medical bills, Liza decided to sell lemonade here in her family shop. Do you enjoy sitting here and selling the lemonade?
I sometimes I do.
Over the weekend, several people came by her lemonade stand inside of Savage's Bakery, bringing gifts, prayers, and donations.
So far we're I think a little bit over 300,000. It's hard to know what surgeries are going to cost in excess of what insurance covers.
This Thursday, Liza and her mom will fly to Boston to have the first of 3 surgeries at Children's Hospital. And when asked, what will she do after her surgery?
Oh, I think that I found myself a cheerleader.
Liza says she's going for a victory dance.
Another sign the housing market remains red hot despite the COVID-19 pandemic. A new report found that inventory was so low that homes in January sold in half the time they did a year ago. So what does that mean for buyers and sellers? Mandy Gaither reports.
Welcome.
If you're looking to buy a home this year, get ready to act fast in this red-hot competitive market.
We have twice as much money that we need to put down on the property, and we still just can't find someone to accept the offer.
A new report from the National Association of Realtors found the number of homes for sale is so low that in January, homes sold in half the time they did a year ago. The data shows properties sold typically stayed on the market for only 21 days. That's down from 43 days a year ago.
There have been four homes this year that I was able to put under contract before I actually listed the property on the multiple listing service.
So what's behind this? Real estate investors say three things: high demand, low supply, and near zero mortgage rates, along with the COVID-19 pandemic increasing the need for home space and delaying major expenses like weddings.
Everything was put on hold, so you have a group of people with good savings that are getting into the market.
The number of available properties for sale is at a record low. Just 2 months into 2021, the supply of unsold single-family homes matched December as the lowest level since the National Association of Realtors began tracking in 1982. If you're in the market for a home, experts recommend you stay flexible and explore properties below your maximum loan amount that may need some rehabbing.
So you have that buffer zone, right? And also, don't be afraid of a little bit of grease, a little bit of TLC.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Google says it will stop tracking what you do online. The company says it will not create new trackers once third-party cookies are phased out from its Chrome browser. Those cookies track your online activity to send you personalized ads. However, the decision does not mean targeted advertising will come to an end. Google says it will use software that prevents individual tracking but still delivers results to advertisers. FedEx is planning to be carbon neutral by 2040. The Memphis-based delivery company is investing more than $2 billion to reach this goal. One of the steps include replacing all existing vehicles with an entirely new fleet of zero-emission electric ones. FedEx is also planning to implement sustainable solutions for customers in the near future. A California woman was heartbroken when someone cleaning her house stole her wedding ring from her husband, who died 20 years ago. Valina Jones has the story of how that ring made it back to its rightful owner.
It's 18-karat gold.
A diamond ring holding 60 years of memories is much more than just a symbol of Patricia Lineberger's nearly 40-year marriage, but a reminder of the man who's no longer here to celebrate their anniversary.
I just have never been able to find anybody to replace him, and never will.
Patricia was a stewardess when she met her late husband, Edward, a pilot engineer for United Airlines. He passed away 20 years ago, but she still wears her wedding ring every day, only taking it off at home.
It just brings back a lot of wonderful memories.
Last October, she put the nearly $10,000 ring in her dresser while her regular cleaning crew came to tidy up. When they left, the ring was nowhere to be found.
I just couldn't believe it. I tore the top drawer apart, took everything out of there, and it wasn't there. And I just knew that one of them had taken it.
She called the local El Dorado Hills cleaning company, who not only denied taking the ring, but still made her pay for the service, prompting her to file a report with the sheriff's office.
It's hard to explain, but I was just devastated. Then I thought, well, that's the end. I will never see the ring again.
For months, she heard nothing until detectives discovered the ring was sold by one of the cleaners for only $550 to Capital City Loan and Jewelry in Rancho Cordova last month. Investigators found the ring before it was sold, bringing an early gift 2 weeks before Patricia's birthday.
I just think I am so blessed that I got it back. It was just 1 in a million chances.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. A penguin field trip prompting one of the most popular questions posed by a beloved TV character. How you doing? Of course, we're talking about Friends here. The 4 penguins popping in on Chicago's Friends Experience on Michigan Avenue, flying the quarantine coop, so to speak, at the Shed Aquarium, stretching their wings with a private tour of the Chicago-based replica of the TV show's iconic set, and stretching their minds too by adding a little variety and exercise to their day. The rest of Chicago can experience the Friends Experience when it reopens to the public on March 17th. Sounds like fun. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.